Well, hello there. This is Virtuals the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. I love the England Gambit. And in fact, in my new book, now available on Amazon, 50+2 Chess Quick Wins, quick win number 1 is in fact the England Gambit trap line. The England Gambit is, in my view, a fantastic response to the Queen's pawn opening with black 1d4. Let's have a look at this game. Now, technically, the England Gambit is not actually that good, but at the beginner intermediate level, it does potentially make a certain sense if you play in a particular style like I do. So let's begin. Queen's pawn opening 1d4. England Gambit is the immediate e5, and you will think that doesn't white just win a pawn? And the answer to that is white does. In fact, capturing or accepting the England Gambit is in fact in this position white's only good move. They take. However, what the England Gambit represents is a grenade in the middle of the board from move 1. For the player playing 1d4, often this can lead to quite positional, potentially closed lines. So something that is quite in the control of white. Now here, what we are doing with black is we lose a point of material, but we draw the game, we take the game outside of the closed positional type lines, which often comes with 1d4 with Queen's pawn openings, like for instance the Queen's Gambit lines. Here we now immediately attack with knight c6. White decided to play the bishop, and here the best position for black is to immediately attack the bishop, of course, with g5, and that will be defended by the queen. So that's our best move. However, in this position, I decided to play queen to e7, ostensibly an inaccuracy. However, what I was thinking about is I'm baiting white to play the knight to double attack here, asking them to double defend. That's in fact one of their best moves. And the reason I want to do that is that this potentially brings it down the main line where black has the specific trap line in the England Gambit where you can win on move 8 or move 9. However, white in this game decided not to play and decided to develop the other knight. And usually when we've got the two attackers here in the England Gambit and white chooses to not defend against it, one of our best options is just to take. So to take the pawn back. So knight captures. They bring the knight forward. That's a pretty bold move. I had to think about that for a while. Decided to bring the queen to that position. Now there's no clocks here because this was a daily game. In fact, it's Team Australia versus France Deutschland club. Here they play the best move with the other knight, now sort of with two attackers. I wasn't sure what was the best move here actually. The problem of course is if they take, I can't really take back. The best move I think for black here is to develop pawn to f7 to have a pawn defending the knight, but I decided to develop my other knight, knight f6, which again was a bit of an inaccuracy here. Simply after this, I take here, and the thing is that white can take that pawn with the bishop, and they basically win some material. However, it's a complicated position. I think white felt uncomfortable. Remember, the person playing with the white pieces, playing 1d4, probably doesn't want an open dynamic game. They want a sort of closed positional game. So here, I thought that they might just try to take the tension away. And in fact, they did. So captures. That pawn, of course, is now defended by the knight. And here, win a bit of tempo back. And now on move 10, I got what I want. So the game is now dynamic. It's completely out of theory. Very often Englund Gambit games end up a little bit weird, and that is potentially good for the player with the black pieces because white's theoretical knowledge in whatever line they want to play, like the Queen's Gambit, like the Slav or semi-Slav, it doesn't matter anymore. Here we are in completely new territory, and with the position being more open, being dynamic, because it's a style of player I enjoy and I like, I potentially have a little bit of an advantage. So here, an attack on the pawn, they counterattack, win a bit of tempo back, that's good. Push a pawn, here I develop, attack on the bishop, have to move the bishop back. They develop a bishop, that's fine. And here, this was a bit of a mistake. This was a mistake because after knight to b5, black has this double attack on my d pawn. So rather than that move, it would have been better to play the bishop, effectively pinning the knight, at least temporarily, to that diagonal. White will need to then defend the b pawn the next turn. They find the move, so here double attack. I decide to let that go. I decide just to get my king out of the center. They decide to short castle as well, interestingly enough, where you can see they had the opportunity to take and they probably should have taken. And now I decide, yep, need to address basically that double attack. So it captures, and now I move my pawn out of that diagonal. The game continues. Here, very, very good. They play. I move the knight here with a double attack. Now that forces their rook forwards. And here I exhibit one of the very common problems, mistakes I make when playing daily games, which is that I often, this is now in the middle game, often I get a notification that's my move. Sometime in the middle of the day, I don't think too hard and I make a move. Here I make, I saw that there was a double attack, but that I can't actually take because it's defended two ways. I decided to kick the bishop, and now I just forgot what I was doing and I captured. And in my mind, I thought, if they take, I now have this very, very nice fork and it's happy days. But of course, there's no reason why white needs to capture with that rook. They could have captured with the other rook, and that's in fact what they do. I actually saw that a move or two ago, but I actually just forgot by the time I made that move. Here, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, that was a bit dumb. Well, I'm just going to have to trade that down. So takes, and here at the end of this move, I knew I'd made a mistake. Technically, we had material equality, but the bishop pair is generally better than a rook and an extra pawn. Let me have a look. Yep, according to Stockfish at high depth, it's about +3. So white is definitely ahead. However, I'd opted not to resign. I thought I had a little bit of compensation. Now, obviously, the bishop pair is very strong, but, I still have a rook pair, and I have an extra pawn. And with that transformation, you will notice here, there, after takes, I now have this c pawn, which is a passed pawn. So I've got a bit of compensation because it's 3 steps away potentially from promotion. And potentially, white is fine, but one of their pieces may be forced to participate in guard duty to prevent that pawn from promoting. And potentially their extra piece may not necessarily be felt. Or at least they have to play carefully. And, with the 2 rooks, I've still potentially have potential for a battery with the rooks. Their king, potentially, especially with their rook having moved off the back rank, there is a potential back rank mate possible if I can transport one of my rooks to the back rank. So these were some of the sort of tactical ideas that I had. So there we go. So rook Fe8, potentially looking at that square. So potentially that's what I was thinking. They, bring their rook here. I suppose that makes sense of preventing that from pushing forward. Kick the bishop, kick the bishop again here. Ooh, very interesting. I bring my other rook. Now, a bit of shuffling here. I hadn't entirely saw where the attack could lie. And now on move 27, White probably noticed that they had a back rank problem, and so decided to create a loft for themselves with h4. Now, here we can engage potentially in some psychological tactics. So one of the things with White is that with their thought that they had a back rank problem, particularly back rank mate, and now that they've seemingly have addressed the back rank mate, psychologically, their eye is going to be turned away from the back rank. Now, it is true that back rank mate is no longer possible, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other back rank threats. In particular, if I could magically transport my rook to e1, that would be an absolute fork, and I would win their bishop. That bishop's not defended by anything else. Again, that rook got taken off the back rank at some point. Given that White, having moved h4, I'm thinking that their eye is off the back rank. This was my time to potentially strike. So d4. Their e-pawn is in fact pinned to the e1 square, though it's not necessarily obvious if you weren't thinking about that. White doesn't pick up the tactic. They take. You can see it's a blunder from a winning position now to about -5. Completely winning. A rook to e1, fork of the king and bishop. King is forced to h2, that only move. I take. Emotional damage. Good game. GG. The big takeaway from this game is that although the Englund Gambit is technically unsound, it often leads to fun chess. Consider giving it a go, especially at the beginner intermediate level. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.